So that PowerPoint presentation once again is for the genetics question on question 11 on the journal. For question 17 and the reflective journal, let me pull that up. 17, it asks you characteristics of the following disorders. And my expectation to receive full points for this is to list characteristics of each of the disorders. So trisomy 21, common characteristics. Turner syndrome, characteristics of that, and so forth. So there's 7 listed. So what it should be like in your answer is a couple characteristics. And then list some more characteristics. Then notice I also asked for 2 diseases where you can have prenatal testing done and 2 disorders that you can detect if you are a carrier, meaning that you, before you even are pregnant or your spouses or you're planning on family, that you can be tested to see if you even carry the gene that would increase the likelihood of some of these disorders, such as Huntington's, sickle cell, anemia, and so that's what that question is referring to. Next, as I said, in the observations and development, I wanted to go over independent and dependent variables. An independent variable is what causes a change in the dependent variable. So the dependent variable is what you manipulate in a scientific study. Here's a great example. The time spent studying for a test changes or could cause a change in the test score. The hypothesis would be that you increase your time studying and then see an increase in your test score. It isn't possible that the test score causes a change in the time that you spent studying. So in this example, the test score is the independent variable. You cannot change the number that you receive on a test. That number is definitive based on your performance, your answers to the question. You can manipulate, you can change, you can alter the time spent studying. So in a scientific study that would examine this relationship, they would have, I would suggest, different groups, one group studying 4 hours, one group studying 2 hours, and one group studying 1 hour. And that variable, the dependent variable, would be the one that changed. Each of those groups would then take the same test and you would compare the test scores. The test scores do not change. You cannot change them on your own. So think about this related to the observations and development question if you have further observations and development assignment. If you have further questions, give me an email. Shoot me an email and I can help you out with it and give you more examples. Alright, as I noted in the introduction video, I do look for ways to apply the course material in different areas of our life. The first one is the gospel. We are privileged to be at the university that we can incorporate gospel doctrine into our course. In this unit, you learn about the beginnings of gender selection, that some countries are allowing families, parents, to choose which gender they would like. I would support, or I do support, the family, a proclamation to the world that states that we are created male and female for a reason, that we are created in the image of God, male and female, and that our gender is something that that Heavenly Father chooses for us. And if you have questions about that, what other countries are doing as far as gender selection, please ask me, especially if it relates to your testimony of gender identity. Next, as a parent or a family member, we learn in this unit that a lot of things go right to have a healthy baby, and unfortunately some things can go wrong, and you could have a child born with birth defects. While I don't encourage expecting parents to lose sleep over those possibilities, it is something to be aware of, something to look over and to be knowledgeable about, of the possibility of that, and know that it doesn't make that child any less of a child of God, that they will have an impact in the world no matter how long their life is. In a professional setting, some of you may pursue a career in genetic counseling. These are individuals who basically anytime an individual asks asks or is required to do genetic testing to see if they carry certain disorders, to see if their spouse does. They also are required to go through genetic counseling, meaning that we just don't give someone their test results saying that you are at an 80% chance of passing on this certain disorder to your children. Rather, we have them sit down with a genetic counselor and they go through the percentages, the statistics, the repercussions of having a child possibly born with that disorder. What does that mean long term? What's the care like? And so they do go through genetic counseling. And related to the church, I would also encourage that those individuals seek counseling within LDS Family Services, and also counsel with the Lord regarding their family and procreation. Referring to a church calling, you most likely in your future or currently will work with individuals who have a disability, whether it's an elderly woman or man who has dementia, for example, or a young child who is born with Down syndrome. In any realm that we will be working with individuals with disabilities. And I encourage you to be knowledgeable of those, and also be willing to reach out to them and understand more about their disorder so that you can better help them. Lastly, as a community member, just be mindful of women who are pregnant. Obviously, if you're living the word of wisdom, you're not going to be smoking around them, but do offer assistance to them in any way that you can. Lastly, I have just this great video by President Nelson that I'm going to have us watch.
Anyone who studies the workings of the human body has surely seen God moving in His majesty and power. Each eye has an auto-focusing lens. Nerves and muscles control two eyes to make a single three-dimensional image. Each ear is connected to compact equipment designed to convert sound waves into audible tones. Your heart is an incredible pump. It has 4 delicate valves that open and close more than 100,000 times a day. Think of the body's defense system. It perceives pain. It generates antibodies. The body renews its own outdated cells and regulates the levels of its own vital ingredients. The many amazing attributes of your body attest to your own divine nature. The Apostle Paul described it as a temple of God. How could this be? Because your body is the temple for your spirit. And how you use your body affects your spirit. God is the Father of our spirits. We are part of His divine purpose. And when He created us physically, we were created in the image of God. Development of the spirit is of eternal consequence. When we truly know our divine nature, and we will control our appetites. We will focus our eyes on sights, our ears on sounds, and our minds on thoughts that are a credit to our physical creation as a temple of our Father in heaven. For these physical gifts, thanks be to God.
Okay, what I love about that, and hopefully you will have an experience as you study this unit, is understanding, gaining an understanding of the intricacies of the human body, starting from the very start of life with the zygote, in the formation of the embryo and the fetus, that everything needs to be organized in such a way to promote life. that if one gene isn't working right, or it doesn't connect as it properly should, that our heart may not pump correctly, or our eyesight may not be as it should. And it's a testimony to me of how much Heavenly Father loves us, that He has designed our bodies in such a way to work as He would desire us to, and that the body truly is a magnificent thing that we can use for good. And as President Nelson recommends, is that we be sure that we treat it as a temple, that it is the house of our spirit, and that we need to act as such. That is it for Unit 1. Again, everything is due Saturday, August 6th, so shoot me an email or anything if you have questions. Otherwise, good luck, everyone.